In the United Kingdom, the truly wealthy aren't the ones in the loudest cars. They're not the ones with the newest registration plate sitting on the driveway, or the designer logo stitched across the jumper. The truly wealthy are quiet. They are the ones who, somewhere along the way, found every silent leak in their finances and calmly plugged it. Because here is the secret nobody tells you about being rich in your 60s and 70s. It is not about how much money you make. It is about what you refuse to let the world take from you. Every single month, money drips out of the average British household through pipes they cannot even see. Loyalty fees, lazy subscriptions, bad tax planning, £1 here, £800 there. The wealthy retiree has simply turned off the taps. So today, we are showing you the 5 things that wealthy British retirees flatly refuse to buy anymore. Not because they cannot afford them, but because they understand that staying rich is a completely different game from getting rich. Let's begin. Number 1. They stop paying the loyalty tax. Here is something that will sting a little. In Britain, loyalty is not rewarded, it is punished. The longer you stay with your energy supplier, your insurer, or your broadband provider, the more they quietly charge you for the privilege. It even has a name inside the industry, the standard variable rate. It is the default, do nothing, we know you won't move price. And the wealthy retiree treats it like poison. When their fixed energy deal ends, they do not roll silently onto the standard variable rate with British Gas and simply hope for the best. When the renewal letter lands from Aviva, they do not just tick the box and pay whatever number is printed at the bottom. They shop, they switch, they haggle. With household energy still sitting well over £1,600 a year for a typical home, and with inflation in 2026 still running at around 3.3%, the gap between the loyal price and the best price is not small change. Across energy, car insurance, home insurance and broadband, the switching gain for an organised retiree is routinely £800 a year, sometimes a good deal more. Think about that. £800 for perhaps 10 minutes of work on a Sunday morning with a cup of tea. There is no investment on earth that pays you £800 for 10 minutes of effort. The wealthy know this. So once a year, they audit their recurring bills exactly like a business audits its costs. Cold, unsentimental, line by line. Loyalty, to them, is something you give to people, never to a corporation. Number 2. They stop buying the latest version. Walk into the home of a genuinely wealthy 70-year-old, and you might be surprised. The phone on the table is often 2, 3, sometimes 4 years old. The television is perfectly good, but it is not the newest model. And that is not an accident. It is a philosophy. The average person has been trained to buy the upgrade, the new £1,200 smartphone every 12 months. The newest tablet the moment it lands. The latest watch on the latest strap. But the wealthy retiree has asked themselves one brutal question. What does this thing actually do for me that the old one did not? Usually the honest answer is almost nothing. A phone from 3 years ago still makes calls, still sends messages, still takes lovely photographs of the grandchildren, and still runs the banking app perfectly well. The wealthy understand a hard truth that the marketing departments desperately do not want you to learn. These gadgets are not assets, they are depreciating tools. The moment you walk out of the shop, that £1,200 phone is worth a fraction of what you paid, and within a few short years, it will be worth almost nothing at all. So they buy quality, they buy it once, and they keep it until it genuinely stops working. Functional beats fashionable every single time. Because every £1,200 not thrown at a needless upgrade is £1,200 that can sit inside an investment, quietly working for them instead. Number 3. They stop buying excitement. This one separates the people who stay wealthy from the people who get lucky once and then lose the lot. There is a certain kind of investor who is always chasing the next big thing, the hot crypto coin a friend mentioned at the golf club, the single moonshot share that is supposedly about to explode any day now. The tip from a man down the pub who knows someone. It feels thrilling. It feels like being clever. And it is, almost always, a quiet form of gambling. The wealthy British retiree has been around long enough to have watched a dozen of these sure things turn to dust. So they do something that looks boring on the surface but is devastatingly effective underneath. They stop trying to find the single needle and they simply buy the whole haystack. Instead of betting on individual companies, they move the bulk of their wealth into low-cost, globally diversified index funds. And crucially, they hold those funds inside the 2 most powerful tax shelters Britain offers, the ordinary saver, the ISA, where their growth and their income come out completely tax-free, and the SIPP, the self-invested personal pension, where the government effectively tops up their contributions and shelters the growth as it compounds. They are not chasing 40% in a weekend. They are calmly accepting a long-term average somewhere in the region of 7 to 9% a year across decades on autopilot. They stopped paying for excitement. They started buying certainty. And certainty, compounded over 20 or 30 years, is what quietly makes people rich and keeps them that way. Number 4, they stop paying the rack rate. Now, this is not about the wealthy depriving themselves. Quite the opposite. They travel beautifully, they eat well, they see the world. But they refuse, absolutely refuse, to pay full price for the privilege. In the hotel trade, the rack rate is the standard, undiscounted price printed on the back of the door. It is the price that only the disorganized and the desperate ever actually pay. The wealthy retiree has all the time in the world and a great deal of patience, and they turn both into a weapon. They book that dream trip 18 months, even 2 years in advance, when the fares are at their very lowest. They travel off-peak, in the quiet weeks when everyone else is at work and the prices collapse. They have spent years calmly collecting air miles and loyalty points on spending they were going to do anyway, and now they cash them in for business class seats and free nights. The result is almost magical. The wealthy retiree spends £3,000 for an experience worth £5,000. Meanwhile, the person we might politely call the fake rich, the one desperate to look the part, pays £6,000 for that very same trip, often on a credit card, then pays interest on it for months afterwards. Same hotel, same flight, same sunset. One person paid half price and slept soundly. The other paid double and is still paying it off. That gap is not luck. It is patience turned into money. Number 5, and this is the most strategic of them all. They stop hoarding and they start gifting. Here is the leak that quietly costs British families more than almost all the others combined. Inheritance tax. Or, as the wealthy privately call it, the 40% gift to His Majesty's Revenue and Customs that nobody ever actually asked to give. Let me explain how it works, because the system is brutally simple. In 2026, every individual has a tax-free allowance, the nil rate band, of £325,000. That figure has not moved since 2009, and it is now frozen all the way out to 2031. Anything in your estate above your allowances is taxed at a flat 40% when you pass away. 40 pence of every single pound gone to HMRC. Now, here is what the merely comfortable do. They keep buying. They keep hoarding assets in their own name, watching their estates swell further and further past the threshold, quietly building a larger and larger bill for their own children to pay. The wealthy do the exact opposite. They stop buying assets for themselves, and they start moving money out of their estate while they are alive and well enough to enjoy doing it. The key tool is something called the potentially exempt transfer. Under this rule, you can gift money or assets to your children or your grandchildren, and if you live for 7 more years after making that gift, it leaves your estate completely. 0 inheritance tax. The full 40% legally avoided. They use trusts. They use their annual gifting allowances. They give with a warm hand rather than a cold one, helping the grandchildren onto the property ladder today, rather than leaving a fortune to be carved up and taxed later. To the wealthy, watching 40% of your life's work disappear is not a tragedy. It is simply a planning failure. And planning failures can be fixed, but only if you start early. So let's bring it all together. Notice what every single one of these 5 moves has in common. None of them are about earning more. Not one. The loyalty tax, the upgrade cycle, the gambling tips, the rack rate, the inheritance tax trap, every one of them is about defense, about refusing to let money quietly leak away. And that is the great secret of staying wealthy in Britain. Getting rich is a game of offense, of earning, building, and pushing forward. But staying rich is a game of defense. It is quiet, it is unglamorous, and almost nobody posts about it online. Because the wealthy retiree is not playing for the crowd. They are not trying to look rich for the neighbours. They are playing on what we might call the private scoreboard, the only one that actually matters, the number that nobody else ever sees. The number that says they will never run out, never be a burden, and will leave something real behind for the people they love. They stopped buying things to impress strangers, and they started buying the one thing money is really for, peace of mind. So this week, take an honest look at your own silent leaks. Pick just one, plug it, and start keeping score on the board that truly counts. If you learned something from this video, like and don't forget to subscribe.